When you're at the beginning, do you suggest people to go into non-scalable activities first, or do you see that, hey, there's a rapid path that you can do where you don't need to be doing one-on-ones? You can actually go straight for courses. I'd be curious to hear the opinion on that.
Mm-hmm. I'm of the lineage. I feel like there's a lineage in coaching that, we belong to that focuses on sell high ticket one-on-one, fill up your private practice, go for the top of market, go to the most committed clients, create the stability in your revenue. Because what I see a lot of people when they get stalled out, or I love what you said about the hockey stick, I call it the tipping point, where there's this point where you're taking all these actions in your business and you don't really feel like you're going anywhere, and no, you're not getting the response or making the money that you want. But eventually all those actions do add up. You get this tipping point, and then it's like, whee, it's all flowing on the other side. Really, it does happen for everyone, but it might take longer to get there if you do things that sabotage that by putting your time and energy into, I want to have a course right now, or maybe people aren't ready to buy $10,000 from me, so I'm going to sell a $97 thing or a $997 thing, or I'm going to have 10 group programs that all kind of do the same thing that my one-on-one does. So you cannibalize the value of your one-on-one, and then people are only buying these low ticket things. Classic. I see this all the time. So it might be advice that people have resistance to because they know eventually, well, I want to have more time freedom within my coaching business. I want to have things I can sell to make money in my sleep. All of that sounds so good, but we have to do it in the right order. And I'm a big order of operations strategist. So for every person coming in, I really want to understand the context of where they're coming at in business, what they've tried, who they're selling to now, what's working, and then go, are you selling the right thing at the right time to the right people? Because if you're trying to sell a mastermind because you want to scale, but you're not there yet, you don't have the brand recognition, or your audience isn't warm enough, or the message isn't refined enough, you're just going to get this sense of like, oh no, my launch didn't work and no one wants this from me, and maybe I should just go back to a job. When if you had just focused on selling your one-on-one for 3 to 6 months with these small tweaks over time, you will get there. You'll hit the tipping point. And then at the right moment, then you scale into one-to-many. And then from one-to-many, you can scale into taking something you've taught live and gotten live feedback on and gotten social proof. So it's an easy sell on a static page, and it's like a DIY thing that people can believe they'd get results from because you've tested it before. That's sort of the segue in the order of operations I teach.
I think I'd be in the same school of thought as you. It sounds, and also if you're like, hey, nothing motivates you more to tell people to have to buy a group coaching than not actually being available, like that your time is actually not available, and you don't need to create any kind of false scarcity. It's real scarcity. You got 24 hours. And I do feel that there's a different energy that you'll come across in a sale if you are sounding more desperate or you're sounding needy. And if you have a lot of time on your hands and none of that steady income coming from non-scalable activity, it doesn't put you in as much of an empowered position. So I would be in the same camp as you, and I do think that more getting in touch with the people, and like, to me, I'm a big proponent about, you need to talk to people, like not fill a survey and read data, like connect, talk, understand, build stories with people is like the key to actually getting closer to the messaging part as well. So I'm glad that this is the direction. And I think for a lot of people, this actually might simplify things a lot more, because it feels overwhelming. You go into this space, like I mentioned at the beginning, is like there's 100 people that tell you 100 different ways of how to do things. If you were trying to get somebody to stop feeling so overwhelmed and paralyzed by choice, and that they could just start moving one thing at a time, what are some of the first steps you suggest for people?
Yeah, number one, just kind of riff off of what we're talking about here is so many really smart early stage coaches or consultants who've made, let's say, less than $50,000 in their business. They don't realize, but they're looking to people who are over the tipping point in their business. They're looking at people who are doing 7 figures and multiple 7 figures, and they see Tony Robbins and Kelly Roach or like whatever big name coach they're into. And they're like, well, they're doing this, so if I want to be successful like them, then I should be doing those same things, not realizing that what you do from 0 to 50, very different from 50 to 100 and 100 to 500 and 500 to a million. And what I do with 8-figure entrepreneurs, that's going to be a whole different conversation. And at the same time, I did say a lot of it is messaging, and a lot of it is kind of readdressing and tweaking and refining things that are working at each of these stages. But yeah, to answer your question, I've seen a lot of clients brand new come in, fill up their private practices, because they're focused on that. They go, okay, I'm putting blinders on. I'm not going to try to sell a bunch of different things. I'm not going to try to sell a $97 thing. I personally know from data and from my own experience, you can have a free thing and a high ticket thing. And if the free thing is really good and your messaging is good and you have the confidence to back the sale and you learn how to do the high ticket sales and you have the skill in that, you'll convert. So you need 2 products, free thing, high ticket thing. Fill that up first. Focus on your messaging, tune out of, a lot of people are asking, what platform should I be on? Oh, I want to have a podcast like Jason and Elaina too. Like, when should I launch my podcast? And they start doing all this stuff that clutters their energy, their awareness, and then they're spending money on like paying someone to edit a podcast when they don't even have a full client roster and stuff like that. I want to do the focus on the profit driving activities. Also, a lot of our listeners might be these amazing, big-hearted people who are like, I just want to be accessible to people. So I also want to have something that people can buy that's lower ticket. And I tell these people, I love you, and you are going to reach more people and be more accessible later on in your career when you exist later on, because you didn't go out of business because you burned out trying to do the low ticket strategy, selling to the bottom of the market. Sell to the top of the market, stabilize yourself, sell that one good offer. And then later on, I have a book, I have podcasts, I do a ton of free things just because it's fun from overflow. You can't do those things from overflow. Like you said, if your energy is desperate and needy because you don't have enough clients in the core of your business, take the year, 2 years, stabilize yourself, and then you'll have more resources to pay someone to help you be accessible to other people.
Amen to that.
Thank you so much for listening to the Selling with Love podcast. We have some previous episodes you can tune into right here. And if you prefer the short form content where you get to the point in under 10 minutes, we do have a ton of clips from our best episodes that are being shared on this channel as well. So pick which one supports you the most. And of course, thank you for liking, subscribing, and of course, selling with love.